Femi grew up in a small village where the struggles of daily life painted every dream with shades of hope and desperation. His mother, Mama Femi, worked tirelessly on the farm, often whispering prayers for a better future for her only son. Femi, bright-eyed and ambitious, longed for a life beyond the dusty roads and endless poverty. His father, Mr. Fela, was a drunkard who often mistreated his mother and rarely helped them in any way. Often he'd come home drunk, beat his wife, Mama Femi, disrupting the peace in the small compound where they lived with a few poor neighbors. One evening, after a particularly harsh beating, Femi approached his mother. "Mama, why do you stay with him?" he asked softly. "My son, marriage is not always easy. I stay for you. One day you will have a better life," Mama Femi replied, wiping her tears. "I swear, Mama, one day I will prove him wrong. I will make you proud," Femi promised. Mr. Fela saw Femi as a burden and a liability. In many occasions he'd push Femi out of his presence, mattering to him that he was a useless boy that would amount to nothing. These words would echo deep into Femi's head, and he would always swear to himself that one day he would prove to his father that he was not useless, neither was he a liability as he purported. After his primary school, Femi was unable to join high school due to lack of fees. He tried doing odd jobs in the village so as to help his mother out, but the peanuts he earned was heartbreaking. One Christmas, his cousin Ademola came to visit his parents who lived nearby. He had been away for 3 years. He was a young ambitious guy, and seemingly his ambitions or whatever he was doing had paid off. He came back showing off his flashy and flamboyant lifestyle, being escorted by police escort and throwing money to the onlooking villagers from his expensive car as he entered his father's compound. His cousin Ademola was popularly known as Jide by the villagers. He had always loved the good life and played loud music, flashy bling, and crazy fashion sense. This time was no different, only a bit more upgraded. Femi, happy to see his cousin, went to greet him. "Jide, city life has been good to you," Femi exclaimed. "My guy, Lagos is where dreams come true." Jide laughed. Femi begged Jide to take him to the city. "A beg, Jide, take me with you. I want to make money too," Femi pleaded. Femi, city life is not for everyone. But let me think about it," Jide hesitated. Mama Femi also begged Jide. "Please, Jide, help my son. Let him find a better future," she implored. Reluctantly, Jide agreed. Mama Femi had been so kind to him throughout his childhood, and he just couldn't say no to her. Soon Christmas was over, and Jide kept his promise and took Femi to the city. When Femi moved to Lagos, the city overwhelmed him. The towering buildings, the endless traffic, and the glimmers of wealth fueled his desire. He stayed with his cousin Jide, who introduced him to friends living flamboyant lives. Jide and his friends would gather in the living room every day, each with their laptop and phones. In the night, they'd party hard in expensive clubs with different beautiful girls each time. The way they threw and spent money didn't make sense to Femi, as he had never seen any of them going to work. He went to his cousin and begged him to show him how to make money and live like him and his friends, but Jide refused, telling him that he cared so much about him and would not wish him the type of life he and his friends lived. Femi never understood what he meant by that, and thought that Jide just didn't want to help him. Femi turned to one of Jide's friends, Sly. "Bro, teach me how to make money like you," Femi begged. At first he declined, afraid of his friend Jide, but after Femi's constant begging, Sly agreed to show him what they do to make money, but he warned him that there would be consequences. Femi, desperate and eager to make this money, told him that he was ready to face whatever consequence there was. Under the mentorship of an infamous Yahoo Lord Sly, Femi learned the tricks of the trade. Nights were spent crafting deceitful stories to trap victims abroad. But even after learning, it was very hard to get someone to deceive online. All his supposed victims were apparently too wise to fall for his deceit. Femi asked Sly if the learning was all he needed, as nothing forthcoming came his way. Sly told him there was more, but if he took that path, there would be no turning back, and it was too dangerous. Femi insisted that he was ready to take on any challenge that came his way, as long as he'd start getting the money as they did. Sly told him to get ready, that he'd take him to a Baba, a native doctor, who lived in a mysterious forest, and they would leave at dusk. Femi was excited and hardly slept that night in anticipation of his big break. Early morning, Sly came to pick him up, and they left for the mysterious forest. The journey was long and silent. When they got to the lonely path that led to the forest, Sly parked his jeep and they continued on foot for the rest of the journey. The feeling was chilling and scary. Creepy sounds came from different sides of the mystical forest. And Femi, though still interested in getting quick riches, started questioning his decision. Fear gripped his very being. He could swear there was something or someone moving around the bushes. Sly to break the silence and ask Femi, "Guy, are you okay? I told you it wasn't going to be a ride in the park," he said with a slight grin on his face. But Femi acting brave, though fear was written all over his face. "No worries, my guy. We move. There's no turning back." "We're almost here. Remember, be brave and precise in your answers," said Sly. Soon they came near a huge tree. Femi was shocked with the sight before him. A majestic ancient king with a long flowing beard was seated on a grand throne made of twisted tree roots in the middle of the enchanted forest. The king wore a golden armor and a shining crown, exuding wisdom and power. A soft golden glow radiated behind him, blending with the mystical misty forest background filled with tall trees and autumn leaves. "What brings you to my throne?" he asked. "My friend seeks for your help, my lord," answered Sly. "What you seek, child, has consequences. Are you ready for what is to come?" "Yes, my lord." "Am ready to bear the consequences," answered Femi. "You will be very rich, your fame beyond borders. Anyone you target shall fall and pay. But after 7 years you will pay with your soul. Now go, go, go!" He roared, his voice echoing in the middle of the enchanted forest. Sly pulled him and they ran out of the forest. Femi was sweating profusely. The consequences too heavy to bear. He just couldn't rub it off his mind. He wondered if he should go back and tell the old man that he was no longer interested. But the thought of leading a poor life forever scared him. "It's better a few years of luxury than a long life of misery," he thought to himself. His efforts soon paid off, and money poured in. With wealth came fame, lavish parties, expensive cars, and a beautiful girlfriend, Ada, who adored his newfound status. She was a nice girl, but one that only had eyes for the finest things in life, but never interested in working for her own money. All she ever wanted for a young, fun, rich guy who would foot all her bill in needs and wants. Femi was a perfect catch. Having had a senator sugar daddy before, she already had ideas of where she and Femi would spend his fortune. They were from holiday to holiday, and from one shopping spree to another. It was all fun, the type of life that Femi had yearned for. He couldn't wait to go back to the village and prove to his drunkard father that he wasn't worthless nor useless as he thought. He had made it and proven himself worthy. Femi's return to the village was grand. He built a mansion for his parents, showered money on old friends, and left the villagers in awe. But whispers followed him. Envy brewed among his friends, and elders murmured about the source of his sudden fortune. Mama Femi, though proud, felt a deep unease. Darkness soon crept into Femi's life. The mystical force that granted him wealth began demanding for sacrifices that chilled his soul. His dreams turned into nightmares, and eerie shadows haunted his days. The deity demanded for sacrifice of a virgin every 21 days. This was a task too great for Femi to meet. Soon Jide was summoned to the village by the elders and the king. Apparently all the villagers that had picked his money when he had come for Christmas had all died mysteriously. The village youths were demanding for his own life, as some of them had lost relatives in the most traumatizing way. Jide had always kept this dark side of his wealth away from everyone, including Femi. His sacrifice came with giving. The more people collected money that he'd throw out, the more wealth he got. Femi, on the other hand, was having a hard time getting virgins. Unable to meet the oracle's ever-increasing demands, Femi's wealth began to vanish. This led him to drink a lot and consume anything that could get him high. His drinking and drug intake got him very sick. Regret consumed him. Ada left, his friends turned away, and the village that once admired him now gossiped about his downfall. Desperate, Femi sought help from spiritualists, but they shook their heads. The price of his greed was his soul. Some spiritualists that claimed they could help for a fee lost their lives. Desperate and confused, Femi waited for his fate. A fate too dark and scary. In the end, Femi disappeared. Some say the oracle claimed him. Others whisper that he wanders the earth, warning those tempted by ill-gotten wealth that no riches are worth losing one's soul. Jide was excommunicated from the village, banished never to return. He abandoned his mansion, his wealth, and everything that he had gotten from ill wealth. One day, as he roamed the streets of Lagos, hungry and homeless, he met a young pastor who was evangelizing with some youths. The pastor prophesied upon his life, prayed for him, and delivered him of the spirit of death that was after his life. From that day on, Jide decided to preach the word of God and deliver souls from evil. He equally went to schools and other institutions teaching about the consequences of ill-gotten wealth. He encouraged youths to work hard and wait on God's blessings. I hope you like my story. To help me grow my small channel, please watch the other stories from my channel. Also comment and subscribe. Thank you.